that's what streaming is for me. It's such a decompression now, getting off my work day, hanging out, being with them. It completely flips my mood.
Welcome everybody to the Nation Underground. I met a new friend, and we talked quite a bit before the show tonight. So I got to know her a lot, and very interesting. She's got a lot of stuff to talk about. But for those of you that don't know her, she is a content creator on Twitch. She's also on TikTok, and she dabbles in a little bit of other things. I will let her discuss that if she feels like discussing it.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. My guest tonight is BrewtifulDisastr.
Hello.
So why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself, how you got started in content creating, and what your favorite topping on pizza is.
Oh, that's gonna be controversial. We're starting off strong. So my name is BrewtifulDisastr. I am a recently 29-year-old female content creator. I got started the end of 2019 on a PlayStation with no camera and no idea what I was doing. Absolutely none. So I have been learning as I go. You can call me Brew. That's definitely easier for most people. And my favorite pizza topping is Canadian bacon and pineapple.
Oh,
crucify me now.
I knew I liked her for some reason.
But I'll also add black olives if I'm feeling extra spicy.
Okay.
Yeah, see, that's where it gets fucking weird.
Friends. We'll still be friends.
Okay. Half black olives and we can share a pizza.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, I've been doing this. It really took off during the pandemic. Obviously, I think that happened for everybody who started just before. I was fortunate enough that I knew a family who gaming was their life, and I actually cleaned out a closet for a friend in exchange for a gaming PC setup. My first one. And it was originally supposed to be my ex-husband's gaming PC, but I was still in college at the time when COVID took over. So I was using it predominantly, and here we are. I started streaming and with my horrible copper wiring internet, and look at it now. Now I have a custom build, and I feel like a Secret Labs chair says I made it. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Did you watch streamers to get tips from them, or did you just kind of okay, here I go live?
It was so my best friend at the time dabbled in streaming more than I did, and we kind of had. So it's a little crazy. So she was married at the time. I was married at the time. And we used to love playing Overwatch with our husbands. That was kind of like the thing that we would all do. Everyone would get off work. We'd all hop on Overwatch on the PlayStation and all play together. Well, she started streaming and she's like, you should try this. And I was like, I mean, okay, sure. And I went about streaming the complete ass backwards way. I would not recommend this to anyone. But I just went live and kept going. I built community as I went. I made a lot of mistakes along the way. Support for support groups, the whole 9 yards. But yeah, I if anyone out there is watching and you're thinking about streaming one day, you should probably hang out in some streams first. Don't do it the way I did it, because it took me, months to get affiliated. Literally everything I've done, I've kind of done the hard way, but it really is from the ground up. I didn't have anybody except a few people when I first started. So even hitting that 3-point average
Oh,
that you need to hit affiliate took me so long because I was just meeting people along the way.
and it's crazy because, you know, thinking about being an affiliate, you only need 3 viewers. It's like, "Ah, I can do that, no problem, 3 viewers."
I was like asking my dad, I'm like, will you come watch my Twitch
Yeah,
stream? Like, it just, but I mean, in the long run, I'm kind of grateful for it because if there's one thing I can say, everything I've done, everything I've built has been 100% organic. The people that I've got people who have stuck with me from that point, and I've got new people, and I value all of them, but in no way, it was organic. And of course, as a streamer, my view count has fluctuated over time. Schedules change, things change. But if you go to Twitch tracker, even though I'm not a huge streamer, if you were to look at my name, which, by the way, anyone watching, you can do this for any streamer,
yeah,
I'm still in the top like 1.5%, which just goes to tell you that even though you're a small streamer, the market is huge. So don't get discouraged if you're not racking in the hundreds, even in the 10 to 20 range. You are in the top like 1 to 2% of Twitch. And
yeah,
so it's been pretty cool.
yeah. Um, no, I mean, so talking about, you know, this is a mental health chat. So talking about that, how does the I know you said in the conversation we talked about now you don't look at numbers, but did you look at numbers in the beginning when you first started?
Yeah.
How did that affect you?
You could see my mood change instantaneously during a stream if I saw my numbers drop. I would want to backpedal. I would want to figure out like what was I doing when I was keeping that higher view count? Like what made all these people want to leave? What's making them want to stay? I was so focused on creating content that was geared towards view count instead of content that was authentic, that it wrecked me mentally because it turned into a people pleasing stream. And at that point, that's you're not creating content anymore, you're just trying to keep up a view count. And it really took its toll on me. And I had tried a couple of times to turn it off because that's what most people recommend, but I couldn't. I was like addicted to watching the numbers for a very long time. And then one day I kind of just said, fuck it. Like, can I say fuck it? Oh,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Can I? Okay. I said it twice. One day I was like, you know what? If people want to be here, they want to be here. If they don't, they don't. I'm going to make content that I enjoy making because at the end of the day, that's the best content. The people who are meant to watch it and find it are going to watch you and find it.
Yeah.
you know, your view count's always going to fluctuate. So turn it off. If you're a streamer, turn it off. You're going to drive yourself insane, or at least if you're like me, you will.
Oh no, I was in the same boat you were when I first started. I didn't know nobody. I did the same thing. This is like trying to get my wife to log on to the stream and watch. Trying to get my sisters, but you know, because I'm older. You know, I'm not gonna. I'm getting ready to turn 50. I keep telling people I'm 50, but I might as well be 50. I turned 50 this year, but so my generation, all my brothers and sisters, I'm the baby, so you can imagine all my family is like way older.
What's Twitch?
Yeah, exactly. So I have educated a couple of my sisters; they understand, and my niece and my nephew, they'll pop in every once in a while. But he's like, yeah, I totally understand what you're talking about, trying to find people though.
Yeah, I was like desperate. I'm like, hey, and it's kind of crazy because I watched this with somebody that I know personally recently start streaming in the last year, and they've been going to Facebook. They're like, "Hey, come watch me on Twitch," when it's their personal Facebook. And as someone who has a Facebook, that is the only social media that I have that is in no way tied to my streaming. And so I learned really fast that it does not bode well trying to just get people on Twitch because Twitch isn't for everyone.
No.
Like, try and explain Twitch to someone who's never seen it and can't understand why people enjoy watching video games. You're gonna get looked at like you're insane. Um, it just doesn't work. Getting out there and meeting people is the best way to do it. Even if I did it the hard way,
Yeah.
that's the best way to figure out who your people are and continue to grow.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. I think whoever created content creation, you know, I
Jenna
don't know.
Marbles.
Well, yeah.
God rest her soul. I mean, she's not gone, but she's gone.
But I think the idea of content creation and us putting ourselves through what we go through to just attract views,
Oh my
and
god.
I mean, I enjoy. And the thing is, though, you have to enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
You can't just sit there and it's like, okay, I'm quitting my day job to go do this and not have any clue about what's behind it. There are some people that blow up.
Oh
Um,
yeah. You'll
and
see people who have like it's crazy to me. They'll hit partner in like a year and it just really worked out for them. But then you've got like someone like Sweet Tails who's been around for a lot longer than most
mhm.
and really did kind of an organic growth. So I mean, it works for some people and they blow up huge like overnight, but then a lot of people it takes them years to ever reach that status. It's a commitment.
Yeah.
And it's a mentally draining one sometimes. I feel like if you put and I used to do this as well. If you put too much of an expectation on yourself to be at a certain place, or you're going to beat yourself up because you feel like you should be here by now. Like for me, I started streaming the end of 2019, so we're going to celebrate like 4 years later this year. It would be
Right.
so easy for me to be like, well, I should be here. Like
Yeah.
I've been doing it this long, I should be here. Or like the entitlement standard, like I deserve to be here because these people are here. And it just you're gonna you're gonna burn yourself out, or your content's gonna suck, or you're gonna quit altogether if you have that kind of mindset. You're not gonna keep going.
So
Like
has there been a time that you wanted to just throw in the towel?
there I don't know if I'd say throw in the towel, but especially in the beginning, there were times where I was like, I did want to feel sorry for myself. I'm like, what am I even doing this for? And that would be because at this point I had started to make streamer friends
Mm.
and we would be streaming around the same time and have mutual acquaintances in our chats. And I'd be like, well, why are these people paying attention to this person and not paying attention to me? Or maybe I shouldn't stream at this time because this person's streaming at this time. Or I just put all these like stipulations and I'm like, well, if these people, don't if I'm not loved as much as that person, well, maybe that's a sign that I shouldn't be doing it. And getting rid of that thought process, I really had to adapt to a fuck it mentality. Like if people want to be here, they're going to be here. If not, they're not going to. Doesn't matter what time of day I stream, doesn't matter what kind of content I stream, doesn't matter none of that matters, because at the end of the day your community is going to find you. It's like the people who want to complain about the hot tub girls, in my opinion. It's like,
Oh,
well, all these hot tub girls are stealing my views. No, they're not. It's a completely different audience, and the same goes for any type of streamer. And so for me, I remember a time that I was streaming marbles almost every single day because it kept my view count high. Engagement was high, view count was high, things were good. But I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable. Like, don't get me wrong, Marbles is fine. It's a great stream, but I am not the type of person who can do that stream after stream and enjoy it. And so, like, I had to make a decision, like, what was worth it? My mental health and in actually enjoying what I'm doing, or appeasing a crowd of people that don't even really wanna be there. They only wanna be there because you're putting on this facade
Mm.
of the content they want.
What is the number one thing that you think that would is the cause of burnout when it comes to streaming?
Um, you're not prioritizing yourself. I think there could be a couple different things. I think if you're constantly streaming, never taking time for yourself, touching grass, in other terms, things like that, that can lead to burnout. I think creation burnout could definitely happen if you're doing things that don't actually inspire you, but you're doing them just because they're trending. I think that'll definitely lead to burnout. I think there's definitely a few different paths that can get you there. And for me personally, what will lead to burnout is straying from. I literally hate this phrase, but it's the only one that makes sense right now, is straying from my truth. Like, I do not
Mm.
like that term, but like
No.
what, what is my content? What do I enjoy doing? Things like that. Like, the moment I stop enjoying my stream is the moment I need to quit, because that's why I started this. Like, if that's no longer there in the long term, you're going to have bad days. I'm talking about long term. If going live feels like a chore, you why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Find that thing that brought you the joy in the first place. Sorry, I kind of like segued there, but I
No, you're
believe
good.
that, yeah, that's definitely going to lead you to your burnout.
No, I totally agree. We ended up always talking at the end of my streams, anyways, for like hours.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, maybe this is my niche. So I tried it out, and here we are. So,
Hello. Yeah. And
so
that's awesome. And I think that's what everyone has to do. If not, the burnout's inevitable. It might happen faster for some than others, but I mean, and again, this is obviously conflated with a bunch of things, but you look at someone huge like Ninja, who like went off the rails and deleted everything
yeah,
after, doing the same thing that he's been doing for so many years that has kept him where he's at. Like, I don't want to make the assumption that it was burnout, but it does have characteristics of it. You're deleting all your socials and just like going off the grid. Like, I feel like that is pretty classic burnout. Like, you're like, fuck it, I'm done. Like, I
yeah,
can't do this anymore. And for someone like me, I love to chat, but I also have raging ADHD, so I'll hyperfixate on games. So we might be playing the same game every day for 2 weeks till we finish it. Then we might be just chatting. Then we might go find a new game. Like, variety streamer at its core is the one thing that keeps me going,
yeah.
not being stuck in a bubble. Again, if it doesn't spark joy, if you're not excited to hit that go live button, if you're not looking forward to it, for whatever reason that is, I would say that you're in the beginning of experiencing burnout, and you need to figure out what it is to circle back to why you first started doing this.
But it's always funny. It's just like whenever you start thinking that way, you have that one awesome blowout stream.
And then you're stuck. You're like, we're going to keep going. Yeah, I mean, I've gone through so many changes throughout my streaming career, from having to shift my stream schedule, from not being consistent due to circumstances in life, that I've seen so many fluctuations, and it's kind of crazy timing wise. But I average anywhere from 75 to 100 hours a month normally, and December was finally getting me back. If we want to talk financials, I mean, I'm comfortable with it. is my highest grossing month of the year. But if you look at all my months prior, it's when I finally started getting consistent again. The consistency, it wasn't because of the amount of hours I was putting in, it's because I was being consistent with showing up. Um, and I think there's a lot to say about that. I mean, you can put in 300 hours a month, but that doesn't mean anything
Yeah.
if you're miserable half the stream. People can tell. People can tell the energy you bring to stream. If I'm having an off day, I will tell chat I'm having an off day because they're already gonna know. As soon as I start talking to chat, normally it cheers me up. So I do get that. Like, there have been some times where it's been like, okay, maybe I should have actually taken this day off, but 9 times out of 10, once I start talking to chat and decompressing from whatever's been going on that day, because that's what streaming is for me. It's such a decompression now, getting off my work day, hanging out, being with them, it completely flips my mood. And so, what used to be like a mental health trigger in a sense, because I was so focused on the wrong things, has now become something that's super positive for my mental health. Thankfully, I have a community that is very understanding. So, if I do say, like, hey, I need a couple days off just to rest and recoup, no one judges me, but just kind of being a little bit more transparent with them has helped tremendously
Oh, that's
in
good.
that regard. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things we talked about, and been talking about this whole situation is just like community, having an honest and true community. I think, in my opinion, I think helps you continue going on.
Yeah.
But one of the things I was going to ask, I haven't asked anybody else, and I should have, but it just kind of like popped into my head because I'm the same way. Things just kind of like appear sometimes. Um, but all the situations, you hear it today, and I can't believe it's still around, the stigma about a woman creator. You're getting your views, you're getting this just because you're a woman. I
I
mean,
got
as
boobs, man.
yeah,
I'm making millions.
but as a woman, I mean, as a woman creator, um, I really want to know. I mean, how does that affect your mentality? I mean,
I do a lot to safeguard myself from the stigma. But on the flip side of that, I know the stigma. So if I'm playing a game, say I decide that I'm going to play some Fortnite or something like that, something that could have an open lobby, open team, things like that, I will not play. I will not play with randoms. I will not play any type of game COD with an open mic lobby. I will not play Fortnite without a team, or I will play solo. I mean, because it's true. It's absolutely true. The moment they hear your voice, I've had it happen in Valorant. The moment they
oh,
hear a female voice, it's all of the things that you hear. Go make a sandwich. You're a dumb bitch. You're this, you're that. They won't help you on your team because you're the female. Like, they'll prioritize the men over it. Um, and so I know that there's some females out there that want to fight back against it by going into those lobbies, anyways. That's not me. I avoid it and I play with my friends, but that is to safeguard my own mental health. Because here's the thing, I know I'm trash at games. I know I'm garbage at a lot of games. I don't need some 15-year-old telling me garbage at games, because I have a very reactive personality. The next thing you know, I'm going to be telling this little fuck then I'm about to become their stepmom and take away their console for the rest of their eternity. Like, go clean your room, bitch. Like, so I personally refrain from playing with randoms. Do I still say those things when I get a good kill? Yes. But But yeah, it does exist. I'm not sure if you ever want insight for anyone listening. Just look up some female streamers on TikTok. There are some who will record their experiences in
Mm.
co-ed lobbies and post them. And I can say from the times that I have played, that's exactly what it is. I was actually banned this last summer. I got a 3-day Twitch ban.
Oh,
Um,
what?
yeah, so I got myself a little mini dip pool. I live in Texas.
Oh,
A mini dip pool, like, so yeah, it's little, like it's not ingrown. Okay, I'm balling on the budget, but I was super excited to take my phone out there, put on my Twitch, hang out with people while I was hanging out in the pool, cooling down. Well, I had a group of guys come in, and it was very much show us this, show us that, what I would do to you, this, that, and the other.
what?
And I was following all of the rules. I was in a swimsuit. I was in the water in a swimsuit. All of Twitch's guidelines, I was in the right category. Well, when my mods started banning them, they started mass reporting me, and I got a 3-day ban and did not win the appeal
What?
because what got me was, and I didn't know this at the time, so I will take responsibility for this, is your camera view.
Mm.
So my camera view was very symmetrical. So you saw my head and you saw my chest. And I do have a large chest. So Twitch's argument was you were focusing too much on your chest. When in reality, I'm just blind and I was streaming off my phone. And if I moved further away, I wasn't going to be able to reach chat.
Yeah.
But that was their argument. But the fact of the matter is, Twitch never would have been in my stream if it didn't start getting massively reported because of these guys saying disgusting things about me and then getting angry when they got banned.
Yeah.
So, the boobs
Wow.
haven't made me millions, but they got me banned on Twitch.
The mental health that just being a female streamer. I mean, I'm surprised there are so many still female streamers out there that just haven't said the hell with it. I mean, I've known a couple of them that just said, "Okay, I'm not doing it again" because of something like that.
You have to have thick skin. And in the last probably 6 months, as you mentioned, I do make other content on the internet. I finally just said, you know what? To hell with it. I'm doing what I want. It is my body, it's my content, and I'm done. I'm done being scared of what some 18-year-old punk ass kid who still lives with his parents wants to say to me. Like, I don't give a shit. At the end of the day, everything I have I built for myself, and I'll be damned if I'm gonna let you take that away from me. Now, I did stop instant banning on Twitch. Mods aren't allowed to do that anymore. You got to really build up to it now because I've learned what mass reporting does. It does not end well. But you just, to be a female in this sphere, you have to have thick skin. Because you can't win for losing. If you wear a low cut top while you stream, oh, you're just using your looks to get views or to get paid. If you stream in a hoodie, oh, well, why aren't you showing us this, that, and the other? Like this, like you cannot win. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter if you're fat, thin, mentally ill, stable. It doesn't matter what tagline you put. It doesn't matter. There's always going to be groups of people who find joy in coming into your stream and trolling you. And you're going to be a target because you're a female and that they have the mentality that you're going to be easier to break. it doesn't happen to men like it happens to women. So,
Yeah.
and to me, that has to be what it is. If they're gonna go after women all the time, because it still happens. I just had a bunch of punk ass kids hop in my stream the other day, could instantly tell they were all hanging out in a Discord call and feeding off each other's energy, just coming in to try and get me riled up. And so it doesn't matter who you are. If you are a female, if you're a female, if you are marginalized in any kind of way, don't try and stream if you don't have thick skin, because it does have, they get to see your live reaction, and I think there's something to be said about that. Leaving a mean comment on TikTok is one thing, but them getting to see you riled up live and how you handle that makes a huge difference. And
Yeah.
for whatever reason, it gets them off.
Yeah. Like I said, it's still hard to believe that because I remember when I first started streaming, that was like the big thing, and it hasn't died down. That's one of the things about it, it just has not died down. I think it's gotten worse. I mean, I think the younger, or the new generation coming up, they're just feeding off of the old generation, and it's just like, okay, this is what we need to do.
They're like, they
I mean,
grew up internet bullies. They're
yeah.
like little gremlins. They travel in packs, and I'm just,
And it's
ugh.
just like, okay, so are you doing this because this is like something you do, or are you doing it because you want to try to make a name for yourself? Or I I haven't figured it out yet. I mean,
Oh,
I'll tell
I
you one thing
actually
though.
have had someone try and do it to make a name out of themselves before. I had a guy coming in being super controversial in chat. Well, finally, I'm like, you haven't done anything bannable at this point. So I click on your name. I pull up his stream. He is streaming my stream and
Oh,
talking over it about my commentary to his comments.
oh wow.
So it's both. It just depends, I guess, on the person. Some are just doing it to get a reaction, and some are doing it because they want to make content off your content because they don't have any fucking talent.
So did you pull his stream up and put it on your stream that way he could see himself?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm gonna get mine in. You best believe that. Like, if you're gonna come after me, I'm gonna make you feel very tiny. Like, I do not care.
See, yeah, you're talking about, it doesn't happen to men as much. I was sitting there thinking, it's just like, you know what? I don't get embarrassed that often, but if you come into my stream and do stuff like that in my stream, you probably would make me blush for the first time in my life.
Yes, gender equality. Troll the men as hard as you troll the women.
And there's a difference between trolling. I mean, you have community members that troll constantly.
Oh,
Those are,
hardcore.
but those are, there's a difference between that kind of trolling and, yeah, just the total disrespectful, of people.
Yeah. Yeah. There was another instance, and this was when I was, I guess, green into streaming. And actually, Osborne in chat was one of my mods, has been around this long. So my Instagram, when I originally started it, had personal things that I had forgotten to delete. So a
Mm.
little backstory: in 2019, I lost a set of twin boys halfway
Oh,
through the pregnancy. To
okay.
no fault of my own, they had what's called twin to twin transfusion syndrome. There was nothing that could have stopped it, but I had a group of of I don't want to say trolls, a group of individuals come in who had looked at my Instagram and had started making references to, it started out as, "Oh, you vape? That must be why your kids are dead.
Oh,
Oh,
no
you do
way.
this." When I think it was that moment, that stream, where I realized, cuz that was a make or break moment, honestly. It was either I was going to, like, throw in the towel, or I was going to get thick skin and roll with the punches. Now I have learned to make sure to keep my private life, or what I don't want to share,
Mhm.
a secret. But yeah, it was used against me live on camera, and that's what
Oh,
I mean when I
no.
say reaction is, that's exactly what they were looking for. And I was so confused at the time because I was like, well, how did they even get this information? Lo and behold, I had like a memorial picture on my Instagram. And so that's
Oh,
how they went after me. Yeah, people on the internet are sick. I'm telling you, some people, like, I love the internet. It's brought me so many friends and so many opportunities, but there's a very dark side to it as well.
yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing, we were talking about earlier about cancel culture and stuff like that. Um it just just the whole change, that's the reason why I really, when I get off of work, I come home, I do not get out. I do not interact with people if I don't have to, other than online.
Yeah.
You know, I
You
just
get to choose who you interact with here.
exactly.
That's why the space is so incredible. Like for for as many bad encounters as I've had on the internet, I've had 100 times more good. I've gotten to pick the people I surround myself. I've gotten more love and support in in some of the darkest times of my life while streaming from my community that I did not even receive from people who know me.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's baffling. But I think there's something really to be said about getting to decide who surrounds you in this space. Like I say it all the time, if you're hanging out in my stream, you're in my house.
Yep.
Like you can call me a bitch all you want, but if you deserve it, you're in my house and I have every right to react the way I'm going to react.
No.
If you're earning it.
Yeah. And I think the progression of streamers, I think more people are starting to catch on to that. It's just like, okay, like you said, it's my house. This is my space, my domain, my channel, so because in the beginning when I used to hear that as well, this is my channel. It's like, how do you figure? It's like, you don't own it. Twitch owns it. It's like, oh, now I get it. It's just like, yeah, it's like you said, perfect analogy. I love that.
Yeah, I
Um,
get to decide what I allow, and I'm not going to allow I and again, this kind of goes full circle back to where we were. I would put up with so much more shit when I was worried about my view count, when I was worried about all of these things than I am now. Because then I would handle a lot more before I would try and kick somebody.
mhm.
Because I was worried about the financial aspect. I was worried about the viewer aspect. I was worried about the growth aspect. And now I you can ask anybody who's still around. I do not care. You can leave. Goodbye. There's the door. Don't come back. We're not going to miss you. If you protecting my mental health in my happy place, my safe place is the number one priority.
So have you seen I mean, have you seen it? Has it, like, your family stuff? Like, have they seen like a change in you since you
Like
changed to
my
that
like my
attitude?
family.
Yeah.
So I definitely think they do. I think they're finally to a place now where they kind of understand it a little bit more. Full disclosure, my dad saw a Sweet Tails TikTok with her dad and
Oh.
is now so he changed his stream name to Papa Brew and he like randomly will like call in or like sneak into chat and he wants to be involved and
Oh,
it
that's
really
sweet.
has. It's been like an incredible experience, which my dad, it's kind of crazy. My dad is a pastor, but he's only like 46. And so he understands the internet and he's the one who got me into gaming in the first place. And so he loves it. He loves being involved. He trolls some of the community members harder than I ever have and it's great. My mom took her a little bit longer, but now she as well will pop on, hang out, get to know people. They've really made an effort to be just as involved with it as I am, which has been incredible.
So staying on that topic. So how was it growing up being a pastor's kid?
I I was a cliche. I mean, I feel like you've got one of two things. You've got my brother who obeyed the rules and me who broke all of them. And if there was a rule to break or a line to cross, I crossed it. From a very young age. I think I really started rebelling at like 12. I was like, we live in a glass house. Fuck this. I'm breaking every window. There were times that my dad was called into meetings because of my behavior. Now I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love my family. I love my dad being a pastor. I don't talk about it all the time on Twitch just because politics, religion, things like
Yeah.
that. Like, I respect you regardless of what you believe or who you are, but like I have my own beliefs as well, and I go to church on Sundays with my family, and I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, growing up, oh, my poor parents, I apologize all the time to them now cuz I've got a 26-year-old brother, I've got an 18-year-old brother, and I've got a set of twin brothers who are 14.
Oh wow.
Yeah, my parents could not stop accidentally having babies. And so they had me at 17. So, and my dad's a pastor's kid who got his girlfriend knocked up at 17. So, maybe I'm just following in his footsteps. Um, being cliche. But now the 18-year-old brother started popping off with a lot of the same crap I did when I was younger. And I just look at my parents and I'm like, I am so sorry. Like, I was a horrible child. Like, when I turned 18, this is going to live on the internet forever. I'm sorry, mom. When I was 18, so I was really strung out on drugs. I was living in a hotel. My boyfriend at the time had been arrested. I was kind of like at my wits' end as far as like what I could do. I tried to avoid my parents at all costs. Like, I left at 17 and did not turn back. But I was in a really tight place and I was like, "Mom, I need you to come get me. Like, I'm getting kicked out of this hotel. Like, I have nowhere to go." And so she graciously agrees to come get me, being the good parent that she is, showing unconditional love when I've just been a twat. And I get loaded in the car. We start fighting, and I'm 18 at this point. And I remember she's driving. And I was like, you know what? Fuck you. Go to hell, bitch. And my mom did not skip a beat and punched me right in the jaw, and I have never spoke to my mother that way again.
Oh.
I deserved it though. In
Um,
no way do I look back and I'm like, how abusive. No, I deserve that. I was an 18-year-old adult who was making a lot of really dumb childish decisions, and she
wow.
finally got it back. She you know what? Good job, mom.
Look at her now. You know, she's
It's moments
exactly.
like that that I look at and I'm like, as fucked up as they may have been in the moment, they really did help make a difference in my life in the long run. Because, like I said, I've never spoken to my mom that way again. I thought I was invincible at that age. What 18-year-old
Oh
year old
yeah.
doesn't? You don't think anything can touch you, anything can hurt you, and then, hello,
Then you
real world.
then you start seeing birdies out of the blue.
Yeah, dude, she got me good. I don't think she even had to look at me. Like, she was driving, eyes on the road, and just connected so well. I'm pretty sure, like, all, like, 5 years of anger were built into that. So, it's a
She's like
good time.
she's already mentally drew the blue bullseye, just waiting for the right moment.
She was. Hindsight, and at the time, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, "You're a horrible mother." But now I'm like, I was an ungrateful little brat. Like, she was going out of her way to help me when she did not need to. And my parents, for being a preacher's kid, like, they truly practice what they preach. They, as far as like unconditional love is concerned, when I was going through mental health struggles, addiction, substance abuse not being full blown addiction, depression that was leading to self harm and suicide. I mean, you name it, I have dealt with it. And they are still the number one supporters. They're in my corner 110%. They will let me know when I'm making poor choices. They will let me know if they don't agree with something I do. But at the end of the day, I could call them and they would be there in a heartbeat. So
That's
I'm very lucky in that sense.
yeah. I mean, family structure doesn't mean it doesn't matter if it's family structure or if it's just or not family structure, but the connection, somebody there for you, somebody always, like you said, unconditional love. Um, I, I think it's what a lot of people in today's generation are missing. That's just
Mhm.
just by observing, because I'm a people watcher. Just by observing, it's just like I can see where okay, you're not loved enough. I think that's
Yep.
I think that's what a lot of these trolls, the internet trolls, are. It's just okay, you're not loved enough.
It's true. So recently I have a guy who comes into my stream and he always asks the same question. I think he forgets he asks me sometimes. I'm not really 100% sure, but the question is, if you had the person you hate the most in the world shrunk down into a little ant in your hand, what would you do to them? And every time my answer is the same. It's I would smile because I would smile like they're like, "Well, you wouldn't like eat them or flick them or anything." And I'm like, "No, like I genuinely think I'm incapable of hate. Like, I have had people do horrific things to me, and while I might not ever wanna see you again, I don't hate you. I hope you heal, I hope you get better, and I think that is just a reflection of the healing and the love that was shown to me when I was in a dark place. Same thing with the trolls. I might not want you in my house, but I hope you get better. Whatever is missing that makes you want to act this way, whether it be towards women or towards just humanity in general, I hope you heal and get better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. For the fact, uh, I don't know. I don't hate either. I don't hold grudges. I might get pissed off and might not.
Yeah.
I might say a few choice words, but then as soon as I walk away, it basically it's like whatever was there stayed there and it didn't follow me around.
Yeah. I don't, maybe I'm broken. A lot of people are like, well, I hate this person who did this to me. And I'm like,
Mm, It
I
takes too
mean,
much energy.
maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just maxed out. My brain's got too much going on. I don't have any more room up here.
Now I used to not be that way. I used to hold grudges. It's like, okay, no, I always,
Really?
I always
Okay.
wanted to try, to figure out the how to get back at them and stuff like that. Until I realized once I got older, it's just like that's too damn exhausting.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I'm a big believer like I've always heard people say like respect is earned and not given, and while I agree with that to a certain degree, I'm like I'm going to show you respect until you give me a reason not to anymore.
yeah,
Like I'm just the opposite. Like I want to approach people with love. I want to approach people with the like the golden rule, the way I want to be treated. I want to treat others that way. You know, yes, I will come after you and be a Cuntosaurus Rex if you deserve it. But you have to push me to that point.
yeah, yeah. So talking about some of the things that you went through as a kid, like addiction and stuff like that. What were some of the things that what led you up to that point, and how did you get to where you are today?
So, like, I know people with addiction, everyone wants to be like, I had a poor childhood or things like that. And while I did have some things that happened, well, okay. It gets a little conflated, so bear with me. I could probably write a book. Maybe I should.
There you go.
Um, when I was younger, I experienced what I now know through therapy is child on child sexual abuse.
Mm,
So it's which essentially boils down to two children not really understanding what it is, but that is taking place. Um and I think that that really fucked with my head because you how do you rationalize that, especially as a kid? You don't understand what's happening. You're not, You don't know what's going on. And so by the time I was, and it baffles me knowing kids these age and thinking about it. By the time I was 10, 11 years old, I was sneaking my parents' liquor when they were gone. Um, by the time I was 12, I got in a fight with my parents because I did have a really bad anger problem at that age. And I do think it probably did stem from just being so confused by some of the circumstances surrounding that situation. But I was 12. I got in a fight with my dad. 12 or 13. I overdosed at school intentionally. And it was my dad who rushed me to the hospital, had my stomach pumped, and that was the first time I had attempted suicide. Um, and then was hospitalized afterwards. From there, I got out, was in therapy, but was very resistant to therapy and adults and kids alike. I'm very much under the persuasion that while therapy can be helpful, if you are not wanting to be an active participant in your healing, it's going to be hard for you to heal. So while I'm being put in these therapy sessions, I didn't really care about it. So I was still self harming. Um, then by 13, 14, 15, I was doing, I don't want to, they are hard drugs. I would, ecstasy, MDMA, cocaine, smoking weed, drinking, sneaking out, going to parties. At this point, I had experienced, I'm not crying. I'm sorry. My nose is running. At this point, at 14, I was drugged for the first time and I was assaulted, um, by adult men this time, which only spun me worse out of control. And then by 16, I was presented with methamphetamine for the first time. And as much as like you want to say like no 16-year-old wants to do meth, it wasn't like that for me. It was a friend who I knew, who I trusted, who I had seen. And I was like, well, they seem like they're normal. So maybe all those things they tell you about these people aren't really true. Like, it's just like every other drug I've tried. And holy hell, was I wrong. Because the next few years of my life were an absolute shit show and blur. Um, Parents cut off contact. I'm essentially homeless. I was probably 98 pounds soaking wet at my lowest. I'm getting arrested. I'm putting myself in so many dangerous situations. Someone tried to shoot me in the back of my own car, but shot themselves. I
Wow.
mean, it really is just like I look back on it and I'm like, only by the grace of God did I make it out of that alive. And then finally, my choices caught up to me and I was thrown in jail. And it saved my life because I spent the next two years in jail. I spent the next 2 years in jail, and it was enough time to remove me from, because I had gone to rehabs during this period, but they were always like 30-day stints. Please cut me off if I'm rambling.
No, no, no.
It was always 30-day stints. And I could never stay clean. I always wanted to run back to the same friend group. I always wanted to numb the trauma that comes with the choices I was doing, because you can't live that kind of lifestyle without active trauma happening. I mean, you're going to see things and experience things that will haunt you in that world. And so going to jail was the biggest blessing in disguise that could have ever happened. And then I got out when I was 21, never went back. cut off contact with everybody, moved back in with my parents, got my bachelor's degree in psychology, have half a master's in counseling. I mean, I stream on the internet. Which this is probably more than I've ever shared with them. It's not that I'm not open to sharing it. It's just like, how do you segue to like, oh yeah, the one time I was in prison? Like, no, like you know.
No, yeah.
But that, I mean, my a lot of my childhood mental health, well, I don't want to say the mental health struggles were self-inflicted because they're not. They were genetic predispositions. But oh, what was I gonna say? Sorry, I have raging ADHD.
You're okay.
But yeah, I mean, I've experienced so much, and some of it was self-inflicted. Like, I don't want to victim blame or anything, which is something I still kind of struggle with. I'm like, oh well, if I hadn't put myself in that situation, then it wouldn't have happened. But
Yeah.
I've gone through a lot, and I've worked my freaking ass off to get where I am today, and so
Well,
maybe that's why I have the attitude I have when it comes to everything else is I'm like, no one's going to take what I have away from me because I spent so many years taking away from myself. I didn't see any value in my own life and wasted it. And now I'm like, fuck you, I'm awesome. You're not going to take anything from me.
no, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing all that. I mean,
Yeah. Figures we'll start at the bottom and I'll give you the cliff notes. That's how I have to tell that story or I'll forget pieces.
so talking about ADHD, I mean, how do you? I mean, when did you find out that you had ADHD? I mean, is it and how does it affect you in? I mean, I know I watched your TikTok, and like I said, I've never been diagnosed, but it's just like I understand by listening to other people. It's just like I feel that I have something of that fact because concentration and focusing on one task is not in my vocabulary.
Yeah, you probably do. I mean, oftentimes if your algorithm is bringing it to you on TikTok, I'm pretty sure you probably have it. That algorithm is terrifying. It's so accurate. So it's kind of funny. When I was in the fourth grade, my teacher had a parent teacher conference with me and my dad. And this was when it was still a little taboo to just say like a kid has ADHD.
Mhm.
And she was like, I think she needs to be tested for ADHD. My dad, being my dad, was like, she's just a child who is hyper. Like, he was so against it. Well, because of all the hospitalization, obviously I was doing diagnostics, and some of those I did actually have. Some of them were just doctors throwing out words because I was a kid in puberty and they didn't know what was going on with me. But the ADHD one came when I was like 13 and it has stuck. Um and it's definitely interesting, especially being a content creator, because I can see so many creators that I get envious of because I'm like, how are you sitting in the same place for so long?
Oh, I
Or
know.
how are you not like getting super sidetracked and going off on like going off into left field? Or like I just did, like forgetting what you were talking about mid sentence. And so in that regard, it's a little frustrating. But I also like to think that maybe my chaos energy is for some people because some people seem to keep coming back. So, because my ADHD makes me loud, makes me impulsive, it makes me confused a lot of the time. And I think it's made me funny. That might be the trauma, I don't know, but we have a good time with it.
Hey, that's one thing I talked about earlier. Is it's like the people that say they have ADHD. I find their streams more. They're fun to be in. I can get lost in their streams.
Me
And stuff like that.
too.
I'll find myself sitting in a stream for 30, 40 minutes, just sitting there, just watching them. Watching the interaction and everything else, and thinking to myself, like, man, why can't I be like that? I think I'm like on the reverse side of ADHD. I'm just like, okay, I don't want to do nothing. Um,
It does suck. There are parts that totally suck. Like today, it's called ADHD paralysis. And so it could be anything. So for me, it was today knowing I had this podcast at this specific time. My brain was so hyper fixated on the fact that we have an appointment at this time that it was refusing to function for almost the entire day.
oh
And I
wow.
was like, even though like my rational brain knows like I have all the time in the world before I have to do that. Didn't matter. You know, for you, it's a little different. And like for me with streaming, it's a little bit different. But for things that are outside of my regular routine, like we have a doctor's appointment at 1. Guess that means we have to sit in bed until noon until it's time to get ready and leave. Like
Oh wow.
it's a real thing. Yeah. Where you'll just like focus on it so hard. Um, and then hyperfixations, like they're cool and all, like when they're happening, but then when you lose your hyperfixation, which is essentially a hobby, a game, anything like that that is producing more dopamine in the brain, all of a sudden you can feel it, like it's no longer there. And if you haven't picked up a new one, it's for me it's kind of hard because I do struggle with depression, but it feels the same. I'm just like in a slump. I'm like, well, I don't know what to do. What am I supposed to do without my hyperfixation or my hobby or things like that?
Yeah.
So there definitely are downsides that you have to learn how to manage. Artificially creating dopamine is, I mean, my medicine does help, but I don't take extended release and I keep it on a low dose because I know the side effects of being on that kind of medication at high doses for too long. So I've really had to kind of buckle down, and I use all sorts of different tools for focus. I've got like probably 20 different timer apps on my phone that's like, okay, if you focus for 10 minutes, you get a 5-minute break reward. Or same thing, I've got one on my computer. I bought it in Steam. It's like, or it's free. It's like Cozy Cabin for focus. It's like
Oh okay.
focus for 30 minutes, take 15-minute breaks. It's kind of just adapting to what works for your brain.
Yeah. So
Because
is that the chronic illness that you were talking about here recently?
no, I actually have POTS. So on top of being mentally ill, I'm chronically ill.
Oh no.
No, it's fine. It's just the hand I was dealt. POTS is post orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, which is essentially just a really fancy way of saying that. So some people have autoimmune disorders. I have, I don't know how to say the word, so I'm going to summarize it.
Mhm.
My nervous system is broken.
Oh no.
So yeah, and so if I'm standing up for too long, or if I stand up too fast, or kind of just any motion that messes with the blood flow throughout my body, um, my body. So what will happen is my heart rate will go up to try and get the blood back to my brain, but my blood pressure will drop. So those two things don't mesh well. So what ends up happening
Oh, wow.
is I faint or something like that. I do get sick easier, chronic fatigue because my heart rate, when that does happen, every time I stand up, my heart rate naturally raises 30 beats per minute. So as you can imagine, if your heart is beating at 130 beats per minute, you're going to be pretty tired by the end of the day. There's not a lot you can do for it. It's not, it can go into remission on its own, but no one really knows why. The best thing I can do is drink electrolytes, up my sodium intake, and make sure I'm getting enough water, because sodium plus water equals higher blood volume and blood pressure.
Okay.
And then I'm getting tested for rheumatoid arthritis because it runs in the family, and it hurts. My body hurts a lot. So, it's not, it's not anything I would wish on anybody else, but again, like, I'm just so grateful from where I was to where I am now that I'll gladly take it. I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
Keep on keeping on.
Well, I mean, the positive attitude's like amazing because I mean, a lot of people will just throw in the towel and just not do anything, you know,
Oh,
just
dude, I'm exhausted all the time. I like to be completely honest, I tell my chat this. I am between, I've probably got 3 main content platforms. Um Funny, funny, spicy. And between that and then working full time, it's
oh
I think it's the ADHD that kind of is the balancing act for the chronic because between with the ADHD and anxiety, it's like you can't just sit around and do nothing. And so it
yeah.
kind of works in my favor. So it keeps me going.
Well, yeah. Now you're making me want to go get checked. 'Cause some of those things that you described, it's like, okay,
POTS is super common and people don't
maybe I need to
realize it.
go. Maybe I need to
POTS,
go.
do it. POTS is way more common than people realize it. And if you know, it doesn't hurt to get checked. And if you know you have it, then you can, implement little tips and tricks to help function better. I mean,
Oh,
it is chronic, but people don't realize it's incredibly common for people to have, especially in the post-COVID era. There's been a huge spike in POTS because it's normally triggered by some kind of illness or stressor in your life.
something that tackles your immune system to where it doesn't want to function
Mhm.
properly.
Yep.
Oh wow. Well, I'm glad that, like I said, you're happy and spirited and stuff like that. So I mean that you would have never known. I mean,
I try. That's how I try and keep it. Sometimes to a fault. Like it's crazy. I'm very much like pro mental health, but I have to check myself sometimes because I'm also very much the I'm fine girl. Like
yeah.
I'm fine, and people are like, "You're not fucking fine." I'm like, "Okay, maybe I'm not."
Maybe I'm just a little fine.
Yeah,
But no. So, the speaking of COVID and all that stuff and everything that's happened in the past, I mean, how did that affect you mentally? I mean, I
I
mean,
got divorced because of it.
oh, really?
I don't want to say I got divorced because of COVID, but I'm pretty sure I got divorced because of COVID. I don't know, like maybe it's kind of weird because we weren't like fighting or anything. He kind of just sat down one day after us being home together for such an extended amount of time and was like, I want a
Oh,
divorce. And I was like,
oh, wow.
okay. Um, Now granted, he was remarried 3 months after our divorce was final.
Mm,
So, and they already have a kid, which was another thing. So, while I did say I had mentioned the loss, I had failed to mention I don't have fallopian tubes. So if I do get pregnant, it has to be through in vitro fertilization.
oh, wow.
Um,
Yeah.
and so I think there were a few factors. One, COVID being home all the time, and two, him not getting the life he had envisioned for himself with me. Because when we got married, I didn't know any of it. Like it all unfolded. I was so young when we got married. I literally was like fresh out of prison. Um, so I didn't know anything. Like, and then I found out, I had to have my fallopian tubes removed, and so there were a few factors that did play a part in our divorce, but that definitely affected my mental health during 2020. And then I was really struggling with panic attacks at that time in my life. Hindsight, they may have been more related to my POTS than I realized because the symptoms are very similar. But for the sake of the time in my life, we'll call them panic attacks. And so I did develop a little bit of agoraphobia.
Mm.
Um, I did develop a little bit of agoraphobia. I didn't really want to leave the house. I was streaming like a psychopath. I mean, my hours were, if I could go back and look, they have to be astronomically high. I was always online. And I was drinking like a fish. I so, I've been clean from all the hard drugs and everything like that for how old am I? So it's been like 10 years.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but as far
Congratulations.
as alcohol is concerned, I've kind of had an off again, on again relationship with alcohol, depending on where my mental health was at. Well, in 2020, I had started streaming, I had started drinking on stream, and I turned into a binge drinker really fast. Because I'm not gonna say that I drank for money Twitch, because I didn't. I didn't do that. That's against TOS. But I would celebrate gifted subs and bits with things like shotgunning beers. And it got really dark really fast. And I think for a time I wanted to blame Twitch for it, but the more I learned about the way other people struggled with alcohol during lockdown, I think it was more just the fact that we could all day drink and it didn't really matter.
Yeah, because we had nowhere to go.
Exactly. Like, because I can tell you after that, I all of a sudden I wasn't drinking all day long. Like, I was out in the world. So, mental health wise during lockdown, there were some great parts starting my Twitch, and there were some really dark parts.
And is that something that you, like I said, you found that out after getting back to somewhat kind of a normalization?
Like,
Uh,
like recognizing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or it was either that or the first time I woke up in my gaming chair to my starting soon screen been running for 3 hours.
Well, at least it was your starting soon stream.
Oh, I know. I am good friends with another streamer who is a male who actually I think would love to come and talk to you. He loves to talk about himself. Um, but he was not so fortunate and had the
No.
similar experience happen during COVID with his camera on. So, yeah, yeah. My friend group's pretty fun. You should meet all of us. We're a little messy. Like, we all have good, juicy stories.
Well, maybe we have to do an episode like that one of these times. Just bring
Yeah.
everybody in and just have a big bash or something. And
I
just
mean, 2020 was wild for the people I know in my community as far as I guess we would call it the episode Alcohol and Bad Decisions live on the air. Like, I mean,
that's a
cuz
good title.
thank you,
Actually, a
thank
good
you.
title to a book.
It no, if I ever write a book, it's going to be called Oops What Not to Do in Life.
Oops, not what to.
And
I
don't
like
try
it.
and take that from me cuz
I'm
I'm going
not
to
interested.
patent it.
Yeah, listen to that chat. Nobody, everybody listening, it's already taken. You can't use it.
It's taken.
Um, no, I mean I've done that before. That is kind of taking that one. um, I've
Oh,
done that before.
mommies.
When I moved my room around, I had everything set up and I had my stream deck. I figured out there's certain I couldn't put my stream deck in certain places because if I tilted my monitor just right, it would hit a button, and it was usually the go live button. I think when I first
You're brave enough to have one of those? I would never put one on my stream deck. Nope.
well, it's hidden now. It's like towards the point where I have to actually search for it, um but no, when I was setting everything up, I was actually had everything set up, turned on, restarted everything, make sure it was all working. And I was like doing stuff over here in the background, just walking around doing stuff. And thank God I had clothes on
I was
because,
gonna say, what if you were
um,
naked?
yeah, I turned around and I because I didn't realize. I mean, I had OBS running because, like I said, I was testing everything out and making sure everything was going to work.
Yeah.
And the OBS was up on my top monitor, and I'm like, oh no, I got notification on my phone because I have my other Twitch, this Twitch on there, and I got notification that I was live. I'm like, no, I'm not. And I turned around and looked, and it's like, oh yeah, I am. Hi, bye.
Oh,
And
you
then,
did hi bye.
yeah,
I've gone live accidentally, like stone cold sober, one time, and I just rolled with it. I was like, "Oh, hey guys!" They kept like doing really loud sound alerts because my headset wasn't on. Like, I was doing something on my computer, but my headset wasn't on, and finally I was like, "Wait a second, those are all Twitch sounds." Like, put it on, I see chat, and I'm like, "What are you guys doing?" Like,
That's a good way to come into the stream. Hey, why? What are you doing here?
yeah, what are you doing here? Yeah, but now, I mean, this since I've moved and expanded my creation, I guess I can say, I would be mortified if I was accidentally live with some things that take place.
Oh yeah. Well, and then I was at work, and I guess my dog must have. She likes to jump on the desk and search for kernels of something. It's plastic, anything. It doesn't matter. She chews on everything. But I guess when she jumped up onto the desk, she pushed my stream deck up underneath my monitor. That was when I realized what was going on with the button. And she went live on this channel when I was at work.
Oh, a dog stream.
Well, it was just on the starting soon screen. So I mean,
Oh,
but it's just like I like 3 hours into it, I looked at my stats. I was looking at something on my Twitch page for my phone, and it said I was live, and I'm like, okay, who is messing with my? First thing is like, what is going on? Did I not shut the stream down last night? And so she must have done it like in the middle of the night because it said it was running for like 9 hours, and I'm like, oh well, hopefully I got some ad revenue off of that.
right? Yeah, I mean, at the very least.
But yeah, it's just like I came home and seen my stream deck was pushed up underneath my monitor, and it's like, oh, my dog must have jumped up on my desk again and pushed my stream deck up.
I am glad I have my monitor like raises and lowers. I can flip it to the side. So my stream deck's under one of my monitors, but it's very high in the air. So, and I am not putting a go live button on it.
Yeah, it's on the other side now to where it's not over here to where she can get to it anymore. So, yeah, that's comical. It's just like some of the things that the mistake streams. It's like,
Yep.
wow. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even the other night when we were getting ready for a conversation, this new program that I'm using, I didn't realize when you go live off of it that it automatically goes to a full screen of me, of my camera. And so I'm sitting there waiting for the intro to go through and everything else. And I just have to look at my stream and it's like, what am I doing on there? It's like, oh, yeah. It's just like people are sitting, I started chatting and I'm like ignoring them because I'm sitting here working on stuff while the stream's getting ready to start. And it's just like, oh, that was a behind the scenes take. How y'all doing?
It happens. I don't think if anyone can go a stream without technical errors, teach me your ways.
You are not a streamer if you don't have mic issues, camera issues.
Yeah. Just yesterday, I was muted for like a solid 5 minutes before everyone's typing in chat at this point, and they're like, wait, is she muted? Mind you, I've been talking for 3 minutes at this point, and I'm like, you guys are just now telling me? Like,
Yeah,
still happens.
When I first started doing the talk shows, I muted an entire like 5-6 minute introduction to I forgot to unmute because back when I was using Discord. So in OBS, I would have to set up I have to set up their audio and separate from my audio. And I just had a button on my stream deck, I could push to unmute them. And apparently the stream deck failed and didn't unmute. And so, yeah, I had to restart the whole 5-minute monologue what we started. And it's just like, take two.
Dang. You're like, and watch us do this all over again. It's fine. You were making words up as we were going. So
there you go. Yeah. But I'll tell people when I do that because it's not the first time. Last night I did it. With Silly Bomb, it was muted for the first couple of minutes, but it's just like something you forget you do. You forget you muted it like the night before, or.
Well, and I have a Blue Yeti, so I've got a little button on it I can push. And it's older at this point and probably needs to be replaced because I'll hit the button, but it won't register that like either I'm muting or unmuting. And so I'll think I've unmuted and it's still just like flashing. It's like, nope, no one's hearing you.
Okay, speaking of that, what is some of the craziest things that you thought you were muted that you weren't muted? Have you had any incidents like that? I mean, you would think there would be clips on your stream if that was the case,
Are
but
you shitting me? I've deleted so many clips. No. You're not going to catch me slipping. I have woken up from many a drunken stupors and gone, absolutely not. Like that, like I said, back in the day, like when I was celebrating too often on stream. I don't think there was anything that anyone accidentally heard. There was definitely things I shouldn't have said. For sure. Like, never have I ever. Don't play that while you're drinking with other streamers. Dear
Oh
God.
Lord.
Yeah, once you're all no. But maybe some fights or phone calls. Just things like that. I think I have been muted for I was fighting with somebody on the phone and everyone was like, "You're not muted." And I was like, "Okay." But no, fortunately I haven't had that mess up. Um
Yeah, I haven't
I've been
either. I'm just trying to find somebody that has.
nope, not yet. I need to knock on literally everything because I've like I said, I've only gone live on accident once. I probably have had closer camera calls to things that shouldn't have been on stream than I have mic calls. Wardrobe malfunctions, things of that nature.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I had one actually almost before this. So
Uh-oh.
I was just wearing like this, which is
Mhm.
very low cut, and I had unbuttoned my raccoon onesie because it was hot. So I was wearing the raccoon onesie, unbuttoning it, didn't have the tank top on yet, didn't realize there was any spillage from the cups.
Oh no.
There may have been a nipple. I'm not
Ah.
100% sure. I think I caught it pretty quickly, but yeah, that maybe there was one. Is this my time to shine? Am I finally gonna make it? I feel like that is like a lot of females' moment.
The
The
yeah, I
nip
mean,
slip.
yeah. I
It's
mean,
maybe it's a meta at this point. Dude, should we call it the nip slip meta?
it seems like there's been a few of them that have done that. I
Yep. Now they're partners, all of them.
know, right?
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus, is that what it takes to be partner nowadays?
I mean, you can hate on some of these girls all you want, but it's working.
And I don't know. I look at it this way. It's like going back to that whole thing. It's like it's content. Whatever works. If you can get away with it, I don't have anything. I don't have any ill things to say about it.
No,
We're
and
into
all those
content.
guys watching the young girls in the hot tubs doing squats aren't going to be the ones sitting here listening to the podcast. So
No.
there's like 9 million of us at this point. Relax, everyone. It's fine. There's plenty of people to share. It's okay.
But no. Um. Wow. There's been a lot of conversations tonight. It's been a lot. I mean, no, it's been
Yeah.
great. Um. Is there anything else that we didn't touch on tonight we touched on a lot?
I would just say one, I know a lot of what I talked about might have been triggering for some of you, and if it was, definitely don't bottle it up. Reach out to somebody that you trust or to any of the resources that were listed at the beginning of this stream. Reach out to me. I'd be happy to provide you with some resources. And two, if you're experiencing any of those, any type of similar situation of what I've described, feel free to reach out to me. I'm sure Rebel feels the same
Yes.
way, and I would be happy to get you in contact with the best resource in your area for your personal struggles. Because I know while I'm in a place where I can talk about the things that have gone on, not everybody is yet. But there is hope and there is help, and I promise you, as someone who has attempted to in their life multiple times it gets better and people want you here. And if you don't think anybody else does, I do. And I will be that person until you want to stay.
Truth. Yeah, it was kind of nice because I was looking for the, back when I first set up my bot on my other channel for mental health, there was an 800 number that you called, but now there's just a 3-digit number that you dial in, 988,
Yep.
and it gets you the National Crisis Center.
Yep.
And they will put you in touch with any, you can do it off your computer, you can do it off your, they got 918, I think it's 988.org. You can go onto the website and you can just Google 988 and it'll take you to the website as well.
Yeah,
And
it's like the hotline and prevention and substance abuse all wrapped into one. It's incredible.
yep, and it's nationwide, and they'll put you in touch with somebody in your local area, or they also have counselors. From what I was reading, they have counselors on site that will help you too. Another thing, if you have been or in the military, somebody who's in the military, there is a good organization. We were talking about it earlier. I'm a part of, as part of their stream team, is stackup.org. And it's just that, it's STACK UP.org. And that is their Twitch, spelt out. You spell dot and org all out. And that is their Twitch handle too. But they have an awesome program that deals with mental health of military vets, active, inactive, retired, anything, but they also they take anybody. You can go to their Discord and they will help you out. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be military for them to help you out. But there is a lot of help out there. It doesn't matter where you're at. It doesn't matter who you are. I know it's really hard trying to ask for help because us as humans don't like to admit that we're weak. And then I think that's what causes a lot of people just to not find the help, is because they feel embarrassed to ask for help.
You don't have to suffer in silence, I promise. If there's somebody out there who's experienced the same thing as you, you're not alone. Sorry, I just had to chime in there because I think
No,
you're so
no.
right. I believe that, shame is a huge factor in people not reaching out and getting help, especially with men's mental health. And I think you'd be shocked to learn you are not alone.
Yeah. Like I said, there's so many resources out there now, more than what there is now or wasn't, a few years ago. Um, right. Um, but yeah, there's so many resources out there. There's so many streamers now. I mean, just like the disclaimer said, I'm not a licensed therapist. She's not a licensed therapist. I mean, we have the education to back it up, and she's got the experience to back it up. I have my own experience, to kind of like understand. But don't, and that's one thing too. When you go into people's Twitch streams and stuff like that, that's one thing I wanted to make everybody aware of. When you go into people's Twitch streams and they're talking about mental health, and they start giving advice, they start giving this, and they start telling you how they do it. Be very, very wary of those kind of streams, I believe, because unless they are a licensed psychologist, it's kind of a touchy thing, because there are some that do give out decent advice, but it's really not classified as advice. That's the reason why I wanted to do these streams. I wanted to bring people on that have went through them and share their experiences, and maybe that would connect with somebody else that had an experience, and then to kind of just go from there and get the help they need. Find out. I mean, Brew's a good example. I mean, I hate to use that word example, but Brew is a positive look
I'm a good
on
outcome.
outcome. Okay, yes. I'm sorry. I'm terrible
No,
with
you're
words.
okay.
Um,
No.
an example here. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah. No, you
No.
could call me an example too. Trust me.
But just by listening to her stories and everything she's gone through over her, the past, in her entire life. This is in her entire life, basically. That she has bounced back to be what she is today. And like I said, if y'all haven't figured out or gone and went into her streams, oh God, I hope I got this one right. I think I put this in earlier. I tried to set these up like 2 nights prior.
You're okay.
Hope that's not
I
her.
mess things up all the time.
Um,
This means
but
you're a professional.
exactly. I always sit there and say, this is my first stream, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
Um,
professional over here.
we'll
Here.
just do it this way. No, I think the shout out works.
There you go. Do you want to copy and paste?
There you go. Um, but yeah, because I'm gonna probably type that in wrong because I mean, I
Yep,
love
it's
her
spelled
name.
weird.
No, I love the name though. I love that. Where did you come up with the name? I mean, I mean, I understand some of it, but
So, brew actually stemmed from my ex-husband. So I turned it into Brewtiful. The disaster spelling, so beautiful disaster. The disaster spelling came from the fact that PlayStation wouldn't let me have enough characters to put the E. But the Brewtiful came from my ex-husband, but like screw you, I'm not getting rid of it. I don't care.
no, don't. It's a very
I'm
it,
not. It's mine at this point.
it's a very it's a very brandable name. I mean, it's unique.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, it's just
Thank you.
that's one thing I'm like you said, be getting hyper fixated on things. I get hyper fixated on people's Twitch names because some of them are just off the wall, and some of them have, are you could tell are thought about before they put into what they are.
It was between that and Raging Chicken. Like,
I think it
and
went
I'm
with the
not
right choice.
kidding. I'm not kidding. It was between that and Raging Chicken because I had like 50 chickens at the time. I love chickens. I would have chickens again right now if I had the space for them. But it was between that and Raging Chicken, and I'm very happy that I went with the former instead of the latter.
Well,
Hindsight.
and when you become a well-known publishing author, I mean, you could actually, that would be a good title for a book, a Brutal Disaster. That
Mm,
would, it basically would sum up like a lot of things that's happened through your lifetime.
It has. I mean, like, regardless of how you feel personally, like I said, it has only been God's hand in my life that has like slowly guided me towards, because whether I was trying to do it myself or just putting myself in situations that should not have panned out in my favor, I'm very fortunate to be where I'm at. Statistically, only 3% of us make it this far with all of the stuff that I've gone through.
But
So yeah,
I do have one question. It's just like, do you feel like is it like a stopping point when, like, maybe when your mind starts wondering, it's like, okay, I'm going to do this. Does your jaw start hurting from your mom?
oh, I mean, I was like, I had TMJ. How'd you know?
No, it's just like, I know some of the, mentally, some things, it's like it's a stopping point. It's like,
It, it's I do well, and I also, it's kind of funny because recently, this has been actually fairly recent, I've kind of had to redefine my relationship with alcohol for the time being for my mental health. There are some times where I'm fine with it, and sometimes I can tell it takes a toll because it is a depressant.
mhm.
Um, and I'm not gonna lie. We all have stressful days at work, and what sounds good at the end of the day is a drink. But I have a picture of my mom and dad that they gave me for Christmas. And my dad laughed his ass off when I opened the box and it was a framed picture of him and my mother. There was a check in the frame, but like so my brother and I opened it at the same time. But I put it on display and kind of during this time, like don't get me wrong, it hasn't been I wasn't sneaking alcohol or anything crazy like that, but when I've kind of wanted to slip back into that mode, I've been able to look at that picture of my parents and just been like, well, they would be disappointed in me. And like, I don't like, it's not guilt and shame that keeps me from making certain choices. Like, at the end of the day, I'm going to do what I want to do. But the loved ones in my life, punches or no punches, do help keep me on the straight and narrow.
No. I mean, yeah, this has been an awesome conversation, and I'm gonna open it up to chat. I mean, if you guys have any appropriate, I always have to put appropriate when I do these streams because I've had some off the wall comments before. But um, if you guys have any questions for her that you would like to ask about anything dealing with streaming, mental health, anything like that, to the point, like I said, we are not licensed. We can't give advice, so don't ask for an advice.
Nope.
But if you guys have any questions, go ahead and start typing them in chat, and I will read them as they go along. But
It's opinions only. I have to do the same thing in my chat because people will be like, "Oh, you have a degree in it," and I'm like, "I am not your
yeah,
therapist." And I am like,
yeah, and that's why a
"Yep,
lot of times I don't let people know that I have the education and some of the things I've done in the past. I deal a lot with. I used to deal a lot like with children in court and custody and stuff like that. I did that for like 6 years. So
oh, that's awesome."
yeah,
Uh,
well, stressful. What do you both do? What got you both into streaming? I'll let you answer that one first.
Okay, what was my best friend at the time. This is so sad. We had Do you remember when I was told you about a falling out I had but behind closed doors?
Yeah.
This is that person. So it's kind of sad.
Oh,
If you ever see this or hear this, no, I don't hate you and I would love to still be your friend. But anyways, it was my best friend at the time. Me, her now ex-husband. We were all IRL friends, both couples, and we would play Overwatch every single day. And finally she streamed and she was like, "You should try this," and I did, and here we are years later. But I've always been into video games. My dad was unplugging the original Nintendo controller when I was raging out at Mario at 5 years old. I'm not kidding. He would walk in and unplug it and tell me I'm not allowed to play anymore
oh wow.
because I would be screaming at the TV.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At
Twisted
Mario
Metal on
Kart?
PlayStation 1. I mean, with Zelda, Kingdom Hearts, all of it. I've always loved video games, but that's what got me into streaming.
Um, but you raised it more. I guess I've never played. Tell you honestly,
Not Mario Kart, Super Mario.
Super Mario. Where'd I get Mario Kart? Um,
Easy. I
yeah.
could have done the same thing. I mean, Mario Kart's frustrating too. Have you played that game in a while?
No,
Oh, you
no.
should. It's gonna make you pissed off.
I think they put in those games nowadays to make people rage.
Yeah, if they have voice chat, it would be so toxic. Who the fuck threw that banana peel? You know what I mean? I'm telling you.
Oh, I think you just gave them ideas. Do it. I want to see Prox chat. You got to have
I
proximity
would
chat
get
in
in a
Mario
lobby
Kart.
with that one.
Yeah, I think they need to put proximity chat in Mario Kart. Um, what got me into streaming? Um, I was down for a surgery that I couldn't move for a few days or a few weeks actually. So I went out and bought an Xbox and I started playing Call of Duty. Well, it was Xbox, so Mixer was around back then. Um, I found Mixer app on there and I started watching all these streamers, which I'm still good friends with a lot of them that I watched 4 years ago, and I talk to them constantly and still in their streams. Taylor was one of them that was on the other night. But I sat there and was watching them, and it's like, dude, I can do this. I can play games. I can talk to people. I can quit my job.
Oh, the fatal
So,
flaw.
so I started streaming. I actually started here on Twitch because everybody was like, "Oh, you got to go to Twitch. Twitch is the place to start in." And so I set up my account, and Twitch was fairly new too. Mixer was fairly new. They were only like 2 years old. When you think of streaming, it's new to them. But um, so yeah, I thought I could make a lot of money, so I started streaming until um, I realized that everybody lied to me. So you
I
grind
feel like
for
that's the
nothing.
never ending, like, and that'll just go on forever with content creation. Is people are gonna be like, I'm gonna do this as my full-time job. I'm like,
Yep.
man, you're gonna be stressed out.
Don't quit your day job yet.
Not yet.
It's like always the same thing. When these people are comedians, they sit there and it's like they try to be funny. It's like, did you try to be a streamer? Don't quit your day job.
Facts. Great
Um,
advice.
let's see. Next one is what's what's your go-to all-time favorite game?
Mystery, I'm kind of mad that you asked this because
Well,
I have ADHD. So I have to answer this a little bit differently because we got to break it down into category because I can't just pick a favorite. If I'm in a cozy mood, my favorite is going to have to be classic Stardew Valley, chill. If I want to rage, mm, Fall Guys, favorite rager. If let's see, survival games, it's a hard toss up between The Forest or Green Hell. Both are excellent games if you've never played.
played Forest.
You played Forest. Sons of the Forest drops next month. Just so if you're not aware, I'm
Uh,
waiting for it.
I quit playing Forest because I kept getting killed by the cannibals.
Dude, I'll play it with you. Trust me. I beat it, gotten all the endings. We got
Well,
it.
you want to know why I kept getting killed by the cannibals? Because they kept
We
raiding my fort, and I couldn't figure out why they were raiding my fort and not everybody else's fort. I was watching them, and come to find out, I didn't realize there was two different heights of walls. So I built my entire fortress out of the walls that you build your cabins out of, instead of out of the walls that you build your fences out of.
Oh no, you're like getting attacked. Oh, that's a bummer. The Forest is a great game.
So I haven't
Um,
touched it since I found that out. I was like, nope, I'm done.
oh man, that's a bummer. It has such a good ending. Green Hell is just like the Amazon harder version of The Forest. So,
Okay.
yeah. Um, now if we're just going with nostalgic all-time favorite, it would be the Kingdom Hearts series. It was probably my first love as far as gaming goes, playing the first or second one. The release order is a little wonky because they released on different platforms in different
Yeah,
countries. I believe it was the first one that was on PlayStation 2 and playing that with my dad. Like that will always hold a special place in my heart. But don't hold me to anything. It could all change tomorrow. 88 hyperfixation is a real thing, man. My favorite song changes every day.
um, I have a question for you. What do you like? I mean, is TikTok? I know TikTok is like the biggest thing for content creators now. What is your? Uh, do you like TikTok? I mean, has it done good for you?
So TikTok for me was actually a grind, just like Twitch was. I did not have just like one viral video and blew up. I had to do the consistent 3 posts a day to reach 1,000. Now, once you reach your 1,000, it you grow from there. I'm already at 1,500, and it's been like less than a month since I finally hit 1,000. You know how long it took me to hit that 1,000? It took
No.
me months of posting. Um, but I do love it. I scroll in my free time. I tell everybody that if you're going on a blind date, you should just exchange phones and scroll each other's For You page. That'll tell you way more about the person than asking them questions.
That's a good.
Um,
I like
again,
that.
I
Yeah.
should patent these things. I'm telling
Yeah.
you. Um, but yeah, I do think it's good for growth. Mr. E actually came over from a TikTok live that I was doing. I was streaming on TikTok live as well as Twitch. He found me randomly on TikTok live and came over to Twitch and has been around now, like super solid, quick integration into the community. Turned into a great friend. Bought me this raccoon onesie off my wish list for my
Oh,
birthday that
nice.
was last week.
Well,
Yeah,
happy birthday. I know I wish you happy
thanks.
birthday in the chat and in the comments and stuff, but happy birthday.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's another great tool. Um, but with that one, either you hit the jackpot and you just have one of those videos that go viral and get your growth from there, or you're really going to have to put some discipline in and make sure you're posting 3 times a day, make sure you're mixing up your content. So for me, posting Twitch clips and only Twitch clips was not growth for me. I had to do trendy things too, fun, dorky things.
Yeah.
And once I got past the idea of the video needs to be perfect, like I just shit post now and it does great. So, do whatever you want. The app's wild. I love it.
Yeah, I think once you figure out that algorithm and get past the algorithm part of it, I think like you said, I think once you hit that point to where okay, TikTok knows that you're gonna be on there for a while, I think it starts
It
being in more
boosts
of
you
your
more.
favor. Yeah.
Yeah. But it punishes you too because
Oh
I took
God.
a break from Friday through the weekend from like all social media. Kind of told everybody I was like, I'm going to be offline for a little bit, with my birthday, celebrating with my family. And my view count is garbage. TikTok, if you're listening, I know that you're punishing me because I
Yeah,
took a break.
I've noticed that it's just like in the same way. If I post like 3 or 4 clips up, I know podcast stuff doesn't like go very well until you start hitting the bigger algorithms of the podcast because it's like one of their lower end content side. It's got a big following, but it's just not one that I don't think they've integrated it in their
Not
algorithm
unless you're
yet.
doing Am I the Asshole podcast.
That is true. I mean, if you start doing, I don't know. Yeah, it's just like, and the ban system over there. I'm scared to death of the ban system. That's the reason why I think I'm scared to death to go live. Because I'm afraid it's just like, uh, just by the stupid things I've heard people getting banned for. It's just like,
It scares me too. I end my TikTok lives well before I get super into my Twitch streams because if you've ever watched, I'm sure you've heard of like BB Jess.
mhm.
She's a bigger streamer. She has to do the same thing. She'll start out doing both, but as soon as she ends her TikTok and says come to Twitch because we're allowed to get away with a lot more here than we are on TikTok, which is wild considering some of the TikTok videos I see.
Oh, I know.
It's weird.
I mean, like I said, I think it's. I mean, I mean, I don't go live enough to actually. I think if you go live over there on a consistent basis, I think TikTok will start pushing you out more. But um, I don't go live over there just for the fact because some of the conversations that we have um may or may not be appropriate for TikTok. I don't know.
Well, and you can't control minors. You can mark it as mature, but just like Twitch, it's easy for them to sneak in. Um, and for me, that's a huge deal. Like, I'm all for adults who have all audience streams, but as someone who doesn't even have kids and does deal with a lot of dark and mature humor, like, I want to make sure that I'm being responsible. Like I know it's not my fault if a kid gets into my stream. But on TikTok, I'm going to try and be a little bit more careful because they could just be scrolling, stumble across my
Yeah,
stream, and that, is it the parents' fault for letting the kid have TikTok? I don't know. I'm not raising your kids, but
yeah.
I don't want to be talk to someone without a developed frontal lobe, and next thing you know, they think it's the cool thing to try what I have in my life.
Yeah. Well, that just go. I mean, that's a prime example. All the challenges they have on there, like what was the one they did a few years ago, the Tide Pod challenge. I mean,
Oh
come on.
gosh, and the milk crate and the all the things that are breaking bones and sending kids to the hospital.
I mean, back in the day when we were in high school, the cinnamon challenge was a big popular thing, which is still a stupid thing. Don't try it.
Do
Um, because cinnamon, you cannot. I don't care how strong and powerful you think you are, you cannot swallow cinnamon.
Nope.
Your body will not let you.
Yeah, and I'm
You will literally
sure
choke on it.
anyone from my community who's watching is old. Yeah, I'm old too, so don't
Yeah.
take offense to that. So they know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think back when I was growing up, I think the challenges were like to talk to Susie over there in high school, or in grade school, getting, the stupid little challenges. I mean, yeah, we'd see who could climb the tree, or the rope the fastest, or climb that tree.
Yeah.
Climbing trees. Climbing trees was like the big thing in our area because it's like, can you climb to the top of this tree? And it's like, nope.
See, for us, it was like we would go to spooky like graveyards or things like that in the middle of the night, which I'm pretty sure was technically trespassing, but that's neither here nor there. Or like TPing houses, or this was before obviously I went completely off the rails and was having like good clean fun.
Yeah.
Like we would go TP houses in the middle of the night. We would not be drinking laundry detergent to
Jesus. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, Lord. There is those people right there are the reason, and I'm sorry if anybody's in here that did that. I'm glad you survived, but there's a reason why they put warning labels on bottles. Um, is those
Natural
people right there.
selection.
Exactly.
You were given a second chance to better.
Like, always remember that when you see a warning label on a bottle or on a product, that usually means somebody's done something and they got in trouble for that, so they had to put a warning label on.
Then sometimes you see warning labels and you're like, how did this get here? I want to know the
I
backstory.
know, right?
Yeah.
I think I'll start. That'd be a good topic. Is just like trying to find out why the warning
TikTok
labels are on.
series. There you go. Weird warning labels and how they originated.
Yep. Um. But yeah, I mean that's by the time I get around to doing something like that, somebody else already done it. Um. But no.
Me. No. Just kidding.
I mean, if I had the time, trust me. I mean, I've done a lot. I took the week and a half off from work to supposed to work on my house, but a lot of stuff I couldn't get done. So, but I did accomplish something. I got my stream set up, reset up. I got everything changed and everything set up to go. So now I'm not like stressed
I did
about.
see some of your your thumbnails and things like that, some of the different things from the previous season. Kudos. It looks really good.
Yeah,
No, I really like it.
I did a recap on Taylor's stream the other night. And it's just like the first thing that brings to my mind is like, good God, who did the graphics on that one?
I'm telling you, if you could see all the different graphics changes I went through in the beginning of my stream, because I've done all of my own, even what I have now. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, this girl should not have been allowed to touch Canva in the beginning. I mean, I learned from it. Obviously, it got a lot better, but I feel you on that.
yeah. This is like because I used to kid my wife. She when we redid our cabinets one year, she wanted to put grapes under the top of the corners of the cabinets, which looked kind of cool. I came home from work one day and she like had the entire trim of the cabinets in grapes, and I'm like, she goes, "What do you think?" And I'm like, I just said, she goes, "What do you think?" And I go, "It's a little busy."
Oh no, you're just supposed to say you love it.
Well, I just I don't know. No, that was one thing I couldn't say I loved it because
I feel like that just unlocked a childhood memory for me as well. I think my mom painted grapes at some point.
I mean, grapes was the thing back then. My mom,
Yeah.
my mom used to have like these bronze plaques that were grapes or fruits and stuff like that, and they were all
Yeah.
over the wall. But no, when I walked in, and it's just like you should have just stuck with them in the corner, honey. Yeah, it was. So
It's
after
okay.
I didn't tell her to change it. I told her she liked it. It was her kitchen. She could live with it. And I came home from work a few weeks later, and it was all painted over. And she goes, "Yeah, it was a little busy walking in here every morning." Yeah.
I did a yellow kitchen once, and oh man, I learned quickly.
Kinder eggs. What are Kinder eggs?
Is that a candy? Wait, I have to Google this.
Is that a Canadian thing? This is my buddy from Canada. He's going to be on the show at the end of the month.
Nice.
Um, I think he's explained this to me once before, but like I said, it's
Kinder
pretty much.
Eggs banned. Oh, it is a candy. Okay, and they had a
And
toy in the middle. Wait, did you guys have to ban them? Were people eating toys? Because we
candy.
always had chocolate. Like, I remember there were, like, SpongeBob themed ones and things like that with toys in the middle, but it got banned in the US. Well, that makes sense, honestly. And that tracks.
Well, I know. At one time, Pop Rocks were taken off the shelves for a long time. Now, but I've noticed,
Really?
yeah. But now I noticed that they're back. I haven't had any since. But yeah, that was the thing back when I was growing up. Was Pop Rocks. Sorry, my dog's back there whining.
Oh, no, you're okay. US banned them for choking.
Well,
I
that makes sense.
mean, I feel like that's more of a design flaw if you're giving it to young kids versus biting into laundry detergent.
Yeah, I mean,
Spoonfuls of cinnamon, maybe a little less reckless. The eraser on the arm or the ice with the
oh,
salt, like, again, foolish, but not like chemical burn
we used to do the lighter thing.
and burn. Yeah.
Yeah, where you get the lighter so hot and see if you could how long you could hold it onto your skin.
Yep. Okay, so that's what I must be. Yeah, because I was like, I feel like I still see them. We just don't have the toys.
Yeah, I think they took the toys out of all of the candy products that we used to grow up on.
It's like in California, they banned all flavored vapes.
They did here in Oklahoma too. Well, in the disposables.
No, see,
Now
they
you
can't
can get
even
the
get
juice.
juice
Well,
anymore.
you can still get the juice here. You just like these throwaway like where the pods, which I don't
Yeah.
understand why because they can still do the same thing. Well, I think the reason why they banned these is because there was so much issue with like metal flaking and stuff like that with the flavored ones.
Yeah, these ones are a lot because I use a mod with a vape because I actually used mine to quit smoking back in the day. And I just never switched because price wise, I'm like, it makes more sense for me to just buy juice than it does for me to buy disposables. Unless I'm going to like an event. If it's like a concert or something, I'll just buy something like
Yeah.
that.
Menthol
But
flavors are banned in Canada. Wow.
at some point, you just have to realize you can't fix stupid.
Yeah.
Like, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You can't, like, can't just ban everything. Can you tell I spend too much time around veterans? Like, I just.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm the same way. No, I
Yep.
think the reason why they banned the philosophy banning these here in Oklahoma, the flavored ones, because I used to get watermelon because it tasted
Mhm.
like cotton candy. Um, and I think the reason why they banned them because kids were buying them and they were afraid they were going to get addicted to them. And now that
Yeah.
I mean, you can still go. The kids can still go get the vapes, just like back when we were kids.
Nah, go get cigarettes. Come on.
Yeah,
It's childhood.
yeah,
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
yeah.
I do
Don't do
not
it.
promote underage use of
No.
anything, but that is how it started for me. And yeah, I use vaping to quit.
Yeah, I mean, I did too.
Me either, Siri. Me either. She.
But well, if y'all don't have any more questions, and if you don't have anything else, I'm gonna jump off of here and let her get back to the rest of her night. I don't know. I know it's Wednesday nights and one of her streaming nights. I didn't know she was gonna kick off a stream or relax after this one, but
I don't
um,
know. I might stream for a little bit. Maybe. I've been playing Heavy Rain, which has been intense.
heavy rain.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those story games. Like the decisions you make in it have various outcomes,
Oh,
like novel type base, but with like more Grand Theft Auto
hmm.
type themage. It's definitely mature audiences, so don't come with your easily triggered. I have a trigger warning for it.
Yeah, that's. I mean, some of these games, I don't know. There's some of these games. It's like because story bases, I'm not like really fond because unless it like piques my interest. If it keeps my interest, I can play it all night long.
Yeah.
but I have a problem with staying interested in certain games.
Yeah, this one has it's like true crime, so
See,
we're trying to figure out who the killer is.
I could probably get into that one.
Yeah. It's pretty good. It's on sale on Steam. You should go get it. It's like $10. What do you have to lose?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
check it out. But yeah, if you guys don't have anything, do you have anybody that right offhand you would like to raid?
Let me take a look.
Anyways, I appreciate everybody coming through tonight and hanging out and chatting with us. Like I said, these streams are you get to know the creator, you get to know the behind the scenes of the creator or behind the what we put on. Some of us are an open book when it comes to their streams, some are not. And like I
Oh,
said,
you definitely learned more about me than I've ever shared in stream tonight.
but I appreciate you guys being here. Make sure that you check out Twitter for anything else. Make sure you go follow Miss Brew and check out her stream and hang out with her and get to know her a little bit more.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
No, thanks for sharing everything.